everyone, to Dreams Unzipped, where you uncover the beauty of your dreams to discover the truth of who you are. I am Dr. Dream, Kelly Sullivan Walden, your host today. And if you'd like to go to my website to find out more about all the wild and crazy things I do in the realm of dreams, go to kellysullivanwalden.com. But for right in this dreamy moment, I have the privilege, the honor, the audacity, the gift to interview an amazing woman who's going to be one of the keynote speakers at the IASD, International Association for the Study of Dreams conference this June. Her name is Dr. Gayle Delaney. And if you're watching this, not listening to this, you can already see Gayle in her beautiful magenta sweater. But if you're listening to this in the podcast, let me just tell you a little bit about who this dreamy woman is. Besides being my sister from another mister, she is the founding president and co-founder of the International Association for the Study of Dreams. Wow. If she never did anything else besides that, that would be enough of an accomplishment, but she's done more. She's the co-director with Loma Flowers, MD, the first chairman of the board of the IASD, of the Delaney and Flowers Dream and Consultation Center, training and granting diplomas to professionals and amateurs around the world in the use of dreams for practical problem solving. In 1970, while doing an undergrad at Princeton, she created the Dream interview method of interpretation. And I think we're going to get to that in this interview because it's one of the things that she is very famous for. And I think about it all the time, every time I talk about anybody with their dreams or myself with my dreams. After studying Jungian psychology in New York and Zurich, Gayle became determined to develop a method of working with dreams that would free dreamers from traditional sexist limitations. Let's just pause for dramatic effect. And psychological formulas created in the 19th century. Her first book, Living Your Dreams, triggered modest interest and research in dream incubation or choosing to sleep on a particular problem before going to sleep. And her most recent book, All About Dreams, summarizes her work, including that on sexual dreams. Ooh, makes me blush. And romantic relationships. And this has a little something to do with what she's going to be talking about at the IASD conference, by the way. Gayle's favorite job was hosting the first daily 3-hour primetime radio show on dreams on KVI AM Seattle in 1982. She's honored and delighted to join our show today. And if you want to find out more about Gayle, her website is Dramatic Effect. Oh my goodness, I have it right here.
I can say it.
That would be great.
smartdreams.net.
So that was dumb of me. Smartdreams.net. Smart dreams. So
not dreams for dummies. No. These are dreams for people who like thinking.
You must be very intelligent to go to her website. They will sniff you out beforehand and kick you offline if you're not smart. So I'm just thrilled to talk to you, Gayle. When we talked about doing this interview, it was, we're still in the wake of the new president that we are coping with and many of us are dreaming about and having nightmares about. And we talked about the Women's March and how very active in that you were. There's so many layers and dimensions to you. I want to talk about all of them in this short period of time. I don't know how we can do that, but also the fact that you were a figure skater and that you win the prize for most fashionably dressed at all of the IASD conferences.
I'm still an ice skater.
You're still an ice skater.
I cracked my skull about 4 years ago and I was off the ice for 3 years, but then it healed enough that now I'm skating again.
Oh my heavens.
Yeah, isn't that great?
I've only done it enough to be dangerous. Actually dangerous. I knocked somebody over while ice skating who broke her arm. And I went, oh my goodness. So I got codependent and I kind of stopped, but I don't know, maybe
my dreams got me back to skating while I was in Zurich, right after college in 72-3. And I had a dream about getting my passport. I had given up skating thinking I was, 24 over the hill,
24. Everyone knows that's over the hill.
And so I got my passport. There's some details. I tell about it in my book, Living Your Dreams. But the short version is I received my passport and I opened it up and I said there were 4 color pages of pictures of me. And many of them of me ice skating at this old age of 45 or so. And I thought, oh my God, I can't have color pages. People think I'm a narcissist. 2, how could I possibly be skating at 45? You know, and so I could, in the dream, I could put my hands in and feel the muscles of my calves, very important, and my thighs. And they were strong and they were clean and they were good. And I thought, well, I know that if you mess with your passport, they'll take it away from you. You can't alter your passport. Well, I guess this is my passport. I'll have to go with it. And then within the year, I was back in the US and I started skating again at the old age of 24 or 5 at that point. And now I'm 67 and I'm skating hard. And I love it. And who knew? And my dreams were so convincing. You aren't too old to skate. And now 45, that was a long time ago.
Oh my goodness. So do you do like all those spins that they do? And
Spins, I do lifts.
You do lifts?
I do small jumps now because I'm afraid to hit my head again, which is not how I hit my head, but you have to be more careful because it's a bigger life than just ice skating. But I always wear an ice halo, you know, my pink pussy hat.
Oh, well, let me show everybody your pink pussy hat. Just so keep talking and I'll show them.
Okay. And it's made by a woman in Canada. The first time she went curling, hit her head. There's got to be a better way. So thanks to her, Ann Armstrong at icehalo.com, if anybody's a skater. There we go. She has things that look like that. That's not one particularly, but it hits all the way around your head like this. You don't notice it when you're skating. It's not like a helmet and it protects your head.
Oh, that's great. Do you see the whole Women's March here?
Yes, this is in Santa Rosa, an hour north of San Francisco, and we had a daytime march, and it was fantastic. The feeling between the women, who are often so, they size you up right away. Are you competition for the unnamed male? None of that among hundreds of women. It was so much fun, and wonderful guys who came too.
Right, but did you know that it was going to turn out so peacefully? Did you know that ahead of time?
I didn't go to this nighttime San Francisco one because I didn't know how it would turn out. It would be cold, it would be dark, and I'm little and in a big crowd. So I chose the Santa Rosa one that was at noon up north, which is, and so daylight, and we had, it must have been the way some of the be-ins were, friendly, supportive. And in the picture, there's a Chinese woman who's naturalized. My now husband, he wasn't a husband. Oh. Yes, he was. He wasn't. Yeah, we were keeping it secret.
Zoom in on him. Let me see if I can. Ooh, there
Trump
he
came into
part of him.
Play 4 days after our quiet little pre-marriage ceremony.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm madly in love.
That's kind of a big deal.
Well, it is, but we've been living together for 6 years.
Okay, but still, that's like time.
But Kevin was sick for 4 of those years. He had fallen ice skating, and he was in bed. So I had to take care of him for 4 years. Then he got better. So now we're going to start picking up our life again in that way. And thanks in part, by the way, to Milton Kramer, who at the IASD meeting in Berkeley said, Gayle, Kevin is too young, a mere 60 years old, to be hanging out in bed with a post-concussion syndrome. Go get him tested again and push Kaiser. And we did, and we found out something else, and he got better like that.
That's incredible. Wow. So that's one more reason that people should go to the IASD conference, because there's great speakers and you're going to have your mind blown by the speakers, but it's the banter in between the speakers sometimes that you hear that can change your life.
And I want to encourage everybody to go and meet people you haven't met. And if someone looks like a first timer, go up and say hello to that first timer. I'm a first timer too. Get to know each other. Walk up to the table and say, can I join you? Don't just sit with your buddies, because it's much more exciting to grab a buddy and go meet some new people, because there are amazing people who are willing to put this much time into the brain, how it works at night.
Okay, speaking about the brain and how it works at night,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about what you're going to talk about at the IASD. I think, first of all, the fact that you just got married, this is a big deal, and this is kind of proof positive that you practice what you preach, because your talk is on the
I
subject of.
practice so hard romance, I can't tell you.
Me too. Serial monogamist over here, and I feel like I've got my quadruple PhD in love and relationships from the School of Hard Knocks, the University
Well,
of Hard
not
Knocks.
just
But
hard knocks. You learn a lot
not
from the people
just.
who are good to you and the good
That's
things you have.
Oh, that's so true. That's true.
Yeah.
But Hard Knocks too, you learn a lot so that you don't have to repeat those things if you can help it.
Some people learn, a lot of people don't. Let me tell
That's
you. And
that's
their
very
dreams
true.
are like sledgehammers saying, hey, have you noticed? We'll talk.
Right, right. Okay, so I'm going to focus more on you. I'm going to stop this, even though we'll come back to your pink pussy cat hat. But we've gotten so bold and brazen, haven't
Let
we?
me make a quick little quip because I see
Yes.
how blonde you are. I've only been blonde since I was 51.
Okay.
And my naturally blonde clients and my not naturally blonde clients, they have dreams of being persecuted, about the persecution they get from other women, of jealousy and gossip. And I've thought of writing a whole book on the poor blondes of the world.
Don't hate me because I'm blonde.
Exactly.
Okay, I have to just tell you, I will contribute a chapter to that. Just quickly, one dream that I had was I was Esther Prim, and I had the Scarlett Letter on my shirt, and and the whole town had rakes and shovels, and they were all coming against me, and they decided that my penance for having been wild in my 20s, that was my official declaration of my badness, was that, okay, this is very embarrassing to say, but I'm going to do it because I feel bold and brazen with you. My penance was going to be they were going to put a gigantic picture, like billboard size, of my vagina everywhere throughout the town. And that would be my shame, that everyone everywhere would be seeing.
Now it could be your pride, the pussy poster.
That's what I changed. I did some work with the dream, and I turned it into what kind of looks like a Georgia O'Keeffe flower. And hey, and how do you know it's mine versus anybody else's, by the way? My face isn't next to it. But it seemed like at the moment that was the worst thing they could do to me, and everyone would know as they walked into every grocery store and drove under every billboard. And how would they have cars to drive, because it was way back then? I don't know. But when I changed the dream around, I made it like I was proud and I was exposed, and if somebody didn't like it, then that was okay, they could go away. But I felt like, why not live transparently? People are going to find out everything anyway. So here you go.
So true. Once you let that go, I was about to give a talk last year on sexual dreams at a graduate school. The night before, a guy comes up to me, a 30-something guy, and he said, Gayle, you really don't have any credibility in this field, meaning sexual dreams. And I looked at him and I thought, I think I'm the only one who's written a thorough book on sexual dreams ever, probably, a long time.
A smart book on that.
So I looked at him and I suddenly read his mind. Oh, you mean because I'm in my 60s, you think I don't know anything about sex and I'm not sexual? That stuff. I said, thank you so much for telling me. So I went to the talk the next day and I opened up and said, just in case you think people over 30 don't have sex lives, I say, you ought to know that the period of time between 1968, a little earlier in California, and 1983 was the most free time for women sexually in the history of human womankind, because we weren't afraid of AIDS yet. We didn't have any diseases as far as we knew, that we couldn't cure with a pill. And we had the pill, and we didn't care what the world said about it. We didn't care about the Scarlett Letters they were passing out. And so we have had broader experience in sexuality than probably any of you. So I just said that. And
I love that.
We can talk about it. my doctors now can't talk about sex. I have to say, listen, you've got to learn to talk. They have so many inhibitions about it because the world after Reagan went way backwards sexually.
Right.
And Susan Faludi's book, Backlash, is a great read if you're interested in how the pendulum is swinging on women's rights and women's liberties. Journalist, fantastic book. Backlash, Susan Faludi, Faludi.
Okay, taking note of that.
So my goal is to die with as few unnecessary inhibitions as necessary.
Okay.
So you want to join me in that?
I will join you in that movement. Hallelujah. It's so funny.
Live fearfully. No.
But what a waste. What a waste. And you know what? If there's any blessing in disguise, because I think even the funky things in life come with blessings, and Trump being our president and all that we've done, I feel like there's permission. I was just talking to Jeremy Taylor, another one of our keynote speakers at IASD, about the blessings in disguise and how everyone, not everyone, but many of us are embracing our inner Trump, just a little bit of that boldness and audacity, and the part that doesn't second guess ourselves and make apologies for every little breath we take. So there is this boldness, there is this triumph.
I can't go there. I cannot go there because he's an ignorant man of great greed and selfishness and psychological problems.
Yes.
His kind of boldness is ignorant, narcissistic, control-oriented, selfish. So I would suggest, let's embrace the boldness and the openness.
That's it. Right.
Of the women's movement, of what his nastiness has given rise to.
Exactly.
The sleeping women, all of our sleeping beauties in their 30s and 40s who thought they weren't getting discriminated against, and now they're beginning to see how thin that veneer of equality is. So, come over. That blessing in disguise may be that it gave rise to awakening the women, but not his style. It's dirty.
No. I mean, that's
naughty Trump.
Well, it's like they say about the shadow. It's like the shadow at its core is just a quality of being, but it's turned up 10 notches too high. It's exaggerated and extreme. So everything that he personifies is like, horrible in 1,000 ways. And you got to see Jeremy Taylor's cartoon that he did about the Trump-tastrophe. It's hilarious. It's cathartic. It's great. So all of that. And I think there's that little quality of boldness that I feel I'm feeling permission to tell you about my vagina dream. I mean, I would have never done that before.
Wherever you get it, I would just say, choose the women's kind of boldness.
Yes, right.
And the people who do it for love and the common good. Yes,
absolutely. Don't embrace your inner evil and now go and tell people of color to go home. No. That's no. Express. So I love what you're saying. And I think there's not going to be a soul that attends your speech or your talk, your keynote address at the IASD that's not going to remember the title of it forever, because it's got CT scans in it and it's about love and relationship. So it's your dreams as CT scans for your love life, right? Did I get that?
Exactly right. Imagine that. You could look at all of the dynamics of your life, of how you choose a partner, how you choose to stay with or leave a partner, and then how you choose another partner. And we all have friends, if we haven't done it ourselves, we keep picking the same guy. He may have a different name. One man said to me, my friends say I keep picking the same woman, but this one's a redhead.
Well, there you go. That changes everything.
There you go.
Right.
And so do you want to hear the template of the most common dream I've heard of romance issues? That is the single most helpful one that I'm sure everybody has.
I would pay you $1 million, and the answer is yes.
Use it right now. I'm doing a remodel.
I'll say dream dollars, $1 million dream dollars. How's that?
Okay, so here's the dream format that I don't know anybody who hasn't had it once we get talking about relationships. All right, so there's some I haven't talked about relationships with, but in general, I would say this is generally
Give it to me. Give it to it. Lay it all out.
All right. One of my clients had a dream that I woke up and I was in bed with George. Okay, so I then we're awake and I do a dream interview. In a dream interview, I said, let's pretend I come from another planet because I want your ideas, not mine. Answer me concretely. If George were my brother, I would still ask the same question. Okay, so I say, pretend I come from another planet. What's George like? Oh, well, he's dashing and handsome and strong and competent, but he was so critical. He was just always critical of me, and finally very selfish, very narcissistic. Okay, so you had the dream about him last night. How long has it been since you've seen George? Oh, about 10 years, 5 years, 6 months, it doesn't matter. So I wonder, is there anybody else in your life or any part of yourself, let the dreamer choose the level, or anything that's just like George, that's handsome, dashing, I'm not using him or her, handsome and dashing and competent and just, whatever word she used, I only use your words, so attractive, but it's really narcissistic and so critical. I try to keep the same tone as I recapitulate what the dreamer just said to me. And just say, oh, no. Okay, well, let's try that again. Tell me one more time with George. She might give me another word. Then I recapitulate the same description. And then she'll say, and I haven't put in one word of my own, well, now that you put it that way, he is a little bit like Michael. In fact, last night we had a date, my current boyfriend, and he was being so critical of what I ordered at the restaurant. Oh, just a little thing. And, well, now that I think about it, he has been sort of narcissistic. He always wants to do on the weekend what he wants to do. He doesn't ask what I want to do. Okay. Well, maybe he is a little bit like George. Maybe he's a lot like, you can just see that roll out in the dreamer. I don't have to say much. Roll out. Oh, no, I'm back in bed with George, only it's Michael. And then I wait a couple of seconds and I say, so that's very useful information, huh? I just wonder, have you ever been with anybody like George before in your life? We've had this kind of relationship. Well, now that you mention it, all my major boyfriends, except for one who was the exact opposite, and that was its own kind of disaster.
So you got to be the George in that relationship.
I don't know.
Gallery.
I don't know if I could say that. Right. No, I don't think so. Okay. But she criticized him for being so incompetent, for being so ugly, whatever. Okay, so then I say, so when's the first time you remember being in a relationship like that? Oh my God, this was a psychiatrist. Oh my God, this couldn't be my father. That's exactly the structure. No, this could not be happening.
Bam.
I know this dynamic. Now, it's not always the father. Sometimes it's an older brother. Sometimes it's an early unrequited love. It doesn't have to be the father, but very commonly it is. And therapists particularly hate seeing that in themselves.
Right. So obvious. Right.
But what I want to say is, you're part of the human race. When we have an unrequited love, let's say that's our stone. We grew up with some sort of a stone, and we keep asking that stone to give blood. And then we grow up.
Because it should.
Well, yeah, it should.
Right.
They're supposed to. Fathers are supposed to give love, moms, whatever. And you can dream cross-sexually. It doesn't, that's just at the traits of the person, the relationship. You walk then as a grown-up into a singles party of 500 men. You go right to the stone. You go, hey, stone, can I have some blood? And the dream says, you're dating another stone. Stones don't give blood. And then when I say, what about the other men in the world? Oh, well, they're so dull. That's the word that usually comes up. And then the work of later dreams is to help the dreamer, one, say absolutely no stones. The minute I discover he's a stone, I'm going to stop seeing him no matter what, because I know that's Heartbreak City. I've looked through my life. It's always been Heartbreak City. Stones don't suddenly give blood. And then what you have to do is develop your taste for a new kind of man whom you didn't get the jollies for. You just didn't. You had it all focused. And it's not to have sex with your dad. It's not about sex.
Right.
But getting love.
Hello, Freud. Right. Okay.
And so then comes the hard work of refusing to date the stones. Those are still the ones you'll have a lifetime vulnerability for. I did it at 60 years old. This was a wonderful man. But in my world, he was the stone, like my dad. And my
Right.
dreams laid it out, and I said, well, maybe it's not this time. And it was one of the biggest heartbreaks of my life, but my dreams got me to break up a whole lot sooner than I would have. Because everyone else said, wait 2 years, this guy's a slow mover. Oh, no. I'd be so heartbroken. And I had worked over the years, including a long marriage, to develop other tastes. They had flavors of my dad, because there were a lot of good things about my dad.
Right.
And they had the quality of being able to love and adore me. That's important. I need a guy who adores me, not who just sort of likes me. You may not, because there's certain problems with that. You can get overdone. But the dreams are so helpful. And when I've had clients who 20 years ago married, John married Maria 20 years ago. He's now having a dream about the problems with his marriage that's going to kill him. Two kinds of trees are growing together in the dream. And I say, and this was a doc, and I said, so what would happen to this tree? Oh, it would die. These trees will kill each other. They'll just die because they'll suck all the life out of each other. I said, well, what kind of dream did you have 20 years ago? Well, I had dreams sort of like this. From date 1 to 4, somewhere in that zone, what you're getting, what's in the package. Because you're just not willing to admit it, and your dreams show it to you. I don't think it's psychic. I think your best friends could tell you, but you can't hear it. And so you could avoid getting with your stone and making better choices in your relationship. So 1, you're happy. 2, he's going to be a lot happier. 3, if you have children, you don't have to have this horrible divorce 20 years later.
Right.
And so it is my mission. I always have a mission. Right? I like
right.
Your cheerleader, if anybody has read Living Your Dreams.
You sisters.
That's another thing we have going. Right?
It just keeps unfolding.
I used to try to I tried to be a serious psychologist, with my man watch on.
Right.
No. Without that, that's where my energy comes from. Okay, so my mission is to tell people, look at your dreams in the early dates. Get a therapist or a friend or a dream analyst to hold your hand if you can't do it alone. And if you're in bed with an old unsuccessful relationship, man or woman, look at what's going on in your life right now that's metaphorically the same thing all over. You don't have to make that mistake.
Okay, so here's a question. Yeah. According to some relationship theories, you're drawn to that stone, and that's kind of like
a good spiritual work for you.
Right. Okay. So this is who you're going to be drawn to. So you might as well figure out how to hopefully create some blood without there being bludgeoning with a knife. But like how to work with that stone.
One of my problems with the whole spiritual thing.
Yeah.
The whole spiritual thing, the religious believe through faith rather than knowledge, and then leave the rest to maybes and I hope. That's right, maybe, and I hope, but I don't believe what I don't know.
Okay.
Because I've seen so many disasters for the years, and I was into the New Age movement. I was in California in 70.
How could you not be? Right.
And a lot of the leaders of the self-growth New Age movement came to me for their dreams. Gayle, I have these nightmares. Why would I'm so holier than thou, have nightmares? And it was real obvious. These people hadn't done their work. They were interested in controlling others and looking important. And spiritual, they were not. I'm sorry. Spiritual to me is being kind and open and loving and not being one-upping people all the time. And so I just sort of put that whole spiritual thing aside. You do that on your own time. With me, we're going to look at your daily life and how can your dreams open your eyes and open your hearts to new ways of looking. Now, this business I chose this husband's totally incompatible with me, as was my father, let's say. I'm not always the father, but let's say the father. And then you can be working the rest of your life to try to make some situational agreement with a very bad match.
Right.
And they're bad matches, and you need to get out of them. And there are therapists who make money by helping you for all these years work out this impossible situation. And what the therapist needs to do is help you deal with your fear of being alone, because you may never find anybody again. You may have to live on your own. And what's that going to be like? Until you can face that possibility, not necessarily, and not that would be better for you, but maybe you wouldn't meet somebody. Get that settled. Because to me, a woman or a man alone without a miserable relationship is much better than the other. You have a much happier life. Friends are wonderful things.
Exactly. And if you can't love your own company, then how could you expect somebody else to? I had a dream that I wrote about in Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dreams and Premonitions, about a guy I was dating who was perfect on paper. He was tall, strong, wealthy, handsome, like all of the whole package.
Mm-hmm.
And early in, I had a dream that we were together, married in the future, and I was a zombie.
So you poor, because of him,
And I was very, like, we had all the fixins. We had the white picket fence. We had the perfect Stepford
What's
wife.
a zombie? Pretend I come from another planet.
What's a what? A zombie? It's
Yeah.
it's a walking dead person. It's a person without a soul.
And in the dream, did you understand it was because of the marriage?
In the dream, I realized if I stayed with him, I woke up with the awareness that I could go down this path. If I really want all that blings and sparkles on the outside only, if that's more important than the way I feel, then this is where you're headed, Kelly. I woke up the next morning and we were still in a honeymoon stage. I mean, this was still early in, and I broke up with him that day. And it was out of the blue. We had never even had one argument. It was perfect. It was perfect, except I knew there was something missing, just a little thing called a soul connection. Everything else was great. But my soul was like, I'm not feeling it. My body was feeling it. There was my brain was feeling it. My heart, my family loved him. He was Irish, for God's sakes. And who doesn't love a strapping Irish man? But my soul couldn't find him. And I knew this won't last. And there was a dream that followed later when I was working with who's now my husband, who I thought he could never be the one, because on paper, everything was wrong. He's 20 years older than me. He's got kids already, a messy divorce and a mess everywhere. But my soul loves him. And in my dream, I held his soul and I was like, oh, and it exploded into 10,000 dragonflies. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, how wonderful.
I knew he was the one. Then this was when we were just friends, and it felt like such taboo to like mess with such a great friendship. Like, oh, I didn't want to blow it. So I kept it to myself for a long time. And I later revealed it. And we've been together now 15 years. And it's very juicy and soulful. My soul has never once felt starved. It feels a little bit fat. But so I think, I mean, you're totally on the right track. Had I not paid attention to either of those dreams, and just what everybody else said.
How many people know to do that? How many people remember the dream, take it seriously, and hold it and keep? And what your dream did, it opened your eyes. It wasn't necessarily a premonition. Some level you knew that, right?
It had me see what was behind me, because there's the concrete, literal stuff that's like, well, you should marry this kind of a guy, and there's all this conditioning, and I'm a pleaser. I want everyone to like me and be happy with my choices, but it was like, okay, I can have that and then lose what's most valuable. Yeah. Or I can go a little bit on a wonky, wild path that some people are going to scratch their heads and go, oh my God, we've lost her. See you later, Kelly. And I've lost a few people along the way, but I found myself. So
your work with dreams is reaching lots and lots of people.
Yeah.
I've had people call from my radio show, which was in 1983. They'll call 83 to now. I still get calls. I probably get most of my clients, not from people who've read my books, but people whose moms wouldn't let them out of the car till they heard how the dream worked out at the end. Because the way I did it is I never interpreted a dream. And under time schedule, tell the dream. Everybody knew I come from another planet.
I love it.
I ask the questions, and then I say, so does this remind you of anything in your life? And people, oh my God, that's my son. And it was so dramatic. Okay, so we've got a dramatic thing that people want to listen to. And now if we can just convince them to use them. And my goal is to get this taught in grammar schools.
In grammar schools.
Yes.
Yes.
And we know pretty quickly who's being sexually abused. I spoke to Carter's chief of staff, who turns out was making a move on me, but I didn't know it. He said, I'd really like to know more about dreams. And so my TV station gave him my home address. So the White House letter comes and he's writing me, he wants to know more about dreams and all this stuff. And I had said to him when I'd met him, said, if we could have children's dreams told or written out, the teacher first asked, tell us one of your wonderful dreams. And just listen and, no interpretation, enjoy it. And then the next day or the next week, now tell us one of your most scary, frightening dreams. And then if the teacher took that, gave them to the psychologist, if you see a pairing in a young child of sexuality or visual, peeping Tomish with coercion, with any level of coercion, I can't imagine that's not a sexual abuse child. And so I published that in my book, Sexual Dreams. And what this guy said to me was, well, Gayle, if that's true, and we find out that 1/3 to 1/4 of American women are sexually abused, which is what all the specialists who study this say, what with those children, take them away from their families? I mean, it is a problem. But we better know. It'd be better if the teacher knew, and you have a meeting with the parents, but not over the dream. You use your common sense how to do this, but the information would be very important.
Wouldn't that be important?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, just like, there was that.
Turns out it never went anywhere because this guy just wanted to have, who knows what he wanted, an affair, a date. I don't think I was married at the time. Maybe it was.
It's all because you're blonde. Blame it on the blonde.
Wasn't then. I was a brunette. No, I was a raven brunette.
You could be polka dotted and it wouldn't matter.
I love it. I always wanted to have purple hair. But after I saw what this did to my hair, the blondness, I'm not going to risk the quality of hair for purpleness. Lots of things.
Oh my goodness. Well, I on a parallel plane, I want this conversation to continue to go. I want to thank you so much, Gayle Delaney, for your amazing contribution to the world of dreams. And I'm so excited. I'm so looking forward to your talk at the IASD conference. And for anybody who's listening or watching who doesn't know about it, go to asdreams.org. I think .org.
ASD.
.org.
ASDREAMS.
Right. It's As Dreams. It's Association for Dreams.org. asdreams.org/2017. The 34th Annual Dream Conference is June 16th through 20th this year, 2017, in Anaheim, California. So this is an international conference. And if you're in California or anywhere in the United States, just come. People are going to be there from all over the world. We're going to have some shamans. We're going to have scientists. We're going to have therapists, artists, so many different types of people that dream and that have an expertise in dreams. And it's so enlivening. It always brings my level of appreciation and awareness of dreams to a whole other level. Don't you find that to be true, Gayle? And
yes. Oh, that was my goal when I got this thing going for 2 years of pull my hair out.
You did this. Do you feel like how must you feel about that? That must feel so
I feel so grateful to the people who took it on afterward because it was dumped in my lap. And I had to call all my clients, and they're not therapy clients, they were clients, to be secretary, to do our legal stuff, because the people that said they were going to take care of that just finked out. And so in my house for 2 years, there was not a moment of quiet. And so I wanted this ecumenical vision, that the Jungians would stop fighting with the Freudians because they'd have to read each other, embarrass them into reading. The sleep researchers would look at the clinicians and look at meaning, not just physiology, and vice versa. And then the artists, have all of it happening with people who were collegial rather than competitive. Now, that dream didn't quite come true, but
no?
Get over it. Well,
it feels like it from my perspective. Just so you know, I've been a part of a number of associations, and at least, and I'm not inside the deep inner workings of it, but my experience as being a participant and a speaker, I feel I feel the love, and I feel the mixture, and I feel the blending and the
More than any other organization I know, I agree.
absolutely. And I mean, it doesn't mean that humans aren't humans, and we all have
Right.
egos, and we
You
think
know,
our
so
thing
that's,
is better.
I'm not saying it's perfect, but
No.
it is fun and it's open and welcoming to newcomers.
Yes.
And you can get involved with the organization lickety split if you have skills, because we need them. They're mostly volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a big organization that's 30 some years old now.
Oh my goodness. So
It started in 82.
Well, thank God for you. Thank God that you bring all that you bring. You bring so much passion and class and elegance and femininity and sass and seriousness and smartness and fun. And
Oh, thank you.
every woman, you're like that Whitney Houston Shaka Khan song. It's all in you. You've got it all.
Oh, there's so much I don't have, but other people bring it in. You know, the people who have their own sleep labs. How wonderful is that?
Yes, you do. And you're going to be talking, your talk or your keynote address is Dreams as CT Scans of Our Love Life. Okay, who doesn't want to go to that? Anybody with a pulse, you got to be there. You got to be there. And if you haven't yet signed up, go to asdreams.org 2017 /2017 to get registered before it fills up. And I have to show you, before we log off here, I have to show you one more picture of Gayle and her pussy cat hat.
Great, we're in there somewhere. There.
I have to do it. I love it. I love it. And I'm grateful that you got out and marched, and that you expressed yourself, and that you shared that with me. It makes me just one more place to connect with.
And you know what I did? I put into my car as many as you could handle, which included then one of my lawyer's children who had met her Iranian husband in Sweden. So he was a naturalized Iranian in the car with the lawyer who's working with immigration rights, with this Chinese woman who is a naturalized person, and just, oh, thank goodness, Gayle, you don't know how bad it could get. And so bring people who wouldn't normally somehow get there. If you go to an event, a march, a meeting, or whatever, just call up at least one friend, say, come on, come with me.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so grateful that my friends got together, because I was a little nervous. I was actually scared, but we did a prayer the night before. We did a ceremony. All of us came together. We joined arms. There was one guy on the subway on our way, or the bus on our way in, that was yelling and screaming, and we all just started oming together as loud as we could to override his ranting. And eventually he stopped. It was an ohm that silenced the hate.
Oh, how nice.
That was that by itself was worth the price of admission. Got to see that nonviolence can actually work. And when you pay attention to your dreams, you can not suffer so much, have a lot more joy, and maybe find the love of your life, like Gayle has just done. And so, you know, what would Gayle do? Do what Gayle does.
Well, you know, when I didn't, you know, the relationship before that, I didn't. My dreams were vividly, no, look at this, look at that. The dreams just tell you what to do. That's a shorthand version. They show you what's going on. And when I saw it, I said, well, yeah, but maybe I could work with that. And maybe I could work with that. And I thought, oh, God. And it did speed up my moving up, but I should never have stayed in past the first week. From my own heart. He was a very good guy. I learned a lot. You can take that attitude. Well, you learn a lot by your mistakes, but I think you learn more and live a bigger life if you make fewer mistakes and go towards a better partner for you.
Right.
He's a wonderful man. I'm still crazy about him, but I can so see it would have been a disaster for me to stay with him, given my needs, how different they were from his. I mean, he was an outdoorsman, just putting it there. I'd never even slept out overnight. He was a professional outdoorsman. And he had a very different take on politics and all sorts of things that I wanted to share with somebody. And mostly on an emotional level, I'm much more emotional. And I've got this wonderful guy now where I can share almost everything, and I can share whatever's inside me without fear.
So
I didn't have fear with the other guy. I'm not saying bad, because there's nothing to say. He just was a more non-emotionally expressive guy. And I thought, that's okay. I can work with that. And then one day I woke up after a dream. I said, with my father, it took me 25, 30 years to help him open up and be this wonderful, emotive dad. I don't have another 25 or 30 years to work with this guy. And that's when I said, oh, well, no, this is ridiculous, Gayle. Let's just face the music and break up with this wonderful guy so he could be happier with somebody else and I would be happier with somebody.
What a concept. Reverend Michael Beckwith says, pain pushes until inspiration pulls. And I have a feeling
how nice.
Go to Gayle's keynote talk, you're going to be inspired and let inspiration pull you towards the love of your life. Or if you're already in the love of your life, take it to the next level and to the next and to the next. What if we dedicated our life to that instead of just getting out of pain? That's what I sign up for. That's what I'm all about. So thank you. Thank you so much, Gayle. I so appreciate you. Thank you everyone for watching and or listening to Dreams Unzipped today. Again, smartdreams.com, smartdreams.net, smartdreams.net. Gayle Delaney, thank you so much for telling us about our CT scans, and I can't wait to see you at the IAC.
Thank you, Kelly. I hope we see each other, have a meal together.
Yes, okay, it's a date.
I'm going on Thursday, so write me. Bye.
Okay, sweet dreams. And everyone, don't take your dreams lying down.